This is the newsroom for today, Wednesday, December 16, 2020. We're broadcasting to you on E1 Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in particular. In the headlines, President Irfan Ali is urging ranks of the Guyana Police Force to improve their performance and professionalism if they want increased salaries and benefits.
We must never give the impression that our only driving force to resolve a case is incentives and reward. That can never be it. It is our oath and commitment to office. It is our love for country and people.
Police Commissioner Acting Nigel Hoppy says serious crimes have decreased by 4.3%. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security rolls out a 5-day training program for women in Region 2 to tackle violence and depression. Alleged Ponzi scheme operator Yuri Dominguez says he intends to refund some $100 million to over 3,000 investors. And in sport, the AAG president touts improved coaching and international exposure to improve local 10K times. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We started by telling you that in direct response to requests from the Guyana Police Force for increased remuneration and benefits, President Irfan Ali has called on ranks across the country to ensure their performance matched the request for greater incentives. The president also urged ranks not to let rewards be the motivation for them to do their work, but to stay true to their oath and love for people and country. Kurt Campbell reports.
President Irfan Ali on Wednesday told commanding officers within the Guyana Police Force that he is committed to supporting the embodiment of professionalism throughout the law enforcement body. The president was at the time attending the annual Police Commissioners' Breakfast at the Officers' Mess in Evelary, Georgetown. The head of state said he had heard the request for improvements in the benefits that police ranks receive, and while he will ensure it manifests, the force must take steps to ensure that their performance match their requests for higher salaries.
But similarly, we expect to see marked improvement in performance. Examining where we are, a lot of professionals, as president, you know, you're never short of advice. A lot of professionals believe that we should go on a case outcome basis for incentives in the police force, similar to a production incentive in other industries. I don't believe this to be the only way forward, because we must never give the impression that our only driving force to resolve a case is incentives and reward. That can never be it. It is our oath and commitment to office. It is our love for country and people.
The president used the opportunity to assure police ranks that their welfare and that of their family will be seriously addressed by the government. Dr. Ali told the gathering of senior police officers that ranks can expect marked improvement in their living and working conditions over the next 5 years.
Today, I want to assure you that your welfare and your family welfare will not be taken for granted. Yes, we can say that, and I will be forced to say, yes, that we need higher salaries and better salaries. And that is something we are committed to. And you will see marked improvement in your living conditions, your livelihood, the environment in which you live, and the benefit which you receive in the next 5 years. Marked improvement.
Already, Dr. Ali said the government is working on a special housing program that will not only see house lots being given to police ranks, but will help them qualify for loans and grants to build their homes. Additionally, the president said he is interested in a highly trained and educated police force. To this end, he said some 20,000 scholarships will be given out next year, and special provisions will be in place for men and women in the police force to access the scholarship. President Ali also told the ranks that the government is looking to fix at an institutional level the manner in which relatives of the police officers who were killed in the line of duty is taken care of. Already, the president has announced a 2-week tax-free bonus for all men and women in uniform. He said notwithstanding this, along with other relief being offered through the COVID-19 support program, the government is looking at additional support for police ranks. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom.
Meanwhile, the Police Commissioner Acting Nigel Hoppy on Wednesday disclosed crime and traffic statistics which reflect a decrease in serious crimes but an increase in accidents and fatalities. The Commissioner was speaking during the annual Police Commissioners' Breakfast at the Officers' Mess in Evelary, Georgetown, where the President, Irfan Ali, and Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben were present. Evidence shows that the majority of accidents are caused by speeding, driving under the influence of alcohol, and being on cellular phones while driving. The Commissioner assured that ranks have been instructed to deal aggressively with both aspects of offenders, especially during the Christmas season.
The year to date has seen a decrease of 4.3% in serious crimes in comparison to the same period last year. However, in terms of traffic, we have recorded a 21% increase in fatal accidents, which resulted in a 15% increase in road fatalities. Notwithstanding, we are continuing to deal aggressively with both these aspects of our responsibility, particularly more so during the Christmas season. When we had rolled out our Christmas policing plan, we featured heightened intelligence-led operations where ranks would be involved in emphasized foot, bicycle, vehicular, mounted, canine and marine patrols, and roadblocks and traffic control while maintaining vigilance in relation to the continued enforcement of the COVID-19 restrictions and pandemic. Members of the public were also reminded to be alert and aware of their surroundings, carrying only what may be necessary to complete their specific transactions, and where possible, consider alternative options to paying for merchandise. We also sent out caution to motorists to refrain from speeding and driving under the influence and to comply with the 5 C's.
We tell you now that the Ministry of Health on Tuesday recorded 2 new COVID-19 deaths, pushing the overall total to 158. The latest fatalities are a 93-year-old male and a 71-year-old woman, both from Region 4. The death toll for December has since moved to 7. As of Tuesday, Guyana recorded a total of 5,973 cases of COVID-19. The total recoveries are 5,144, which means there are only 829 active cases. There are currently 9 persons in the COVID-19 intensive care unit and 43 persons in institutional isolation. The ministry reported that there are 621 asymptomatic cases on home isolation, while 17 persons are in institutional quarantine. While declaring that he is about science and not about politics, the director of the Argentine team of forensic anthropology, Dr. Luis Fondebrida, on Tuesday evening assured that he has the expertise and experience to help local investigators solve the murders of the Berbice teen boys Joel Henry, Isaiah Henry, and Harish Singh. Kurt Campbell reports.
Director of the Argentine team of forensic anthropology, Dr. Luis Fondebrida, left Guyana Wednesday morning without receiving a list of documents he requested from the police to help him decide what assistance he can give to solving the murder of Berbice teen boys Joel Henry, Isaiah Henry, and Harish Singh. The director, who met with Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben and a team from the Guyana Police Force Tuesday morning, said he made requests for several documents and he now awaits those before forming an opinion or offering advice on the brutal murders that sparked widespread protest action along the west coast of Berbice. Dr. Fondebrida visited at the invitation of the Guyana Human Rights Association and spent his time meeting with the families, visiting the crime scene, and engaging local authorities who have worked on the case. He said he stands ready to offer his assistance in reviewing the case with the Guyanese Authority, but noted that with the request for information already put forward, now the ball is in the field of the state.
I need documents. I need reports from the crime scene, from the autopsy, the complementary analysis, and I don't have it. I hope we offer assistance to the Guyanese government in investigation, because we have been working in many years doing this kind of job, and I understand for Guyana is something quite new, a crime like this. As we said in football, now the ball is in the field of the states.
The Argentine forensic expert said he made the request directly to the Chief of Police and Chief of Investigations. Dr. Fondebrida said without the documents, he will still go ahead with preparing a short report for the Guyana Human Rights Association. Asked about what assurance he received from the police or the government in providing the information requested, Dr. Fondebrida said while he received some positive feedback, there has been no commitment on a timeline or protocol for handing over the information.
I told them when I am a scientist and I don't know about politics. I think they listen what I request, and we'll see the next days if something come out.
How soon can we get your report?
Well, it will be depends. If I had the documents, it will take me 3 weeks to produce a report for the Guyana Human Rights Association, who is called me here, and with advice, with recommendations. Without those documents, will be a very short report about my activities, and I can recommend general things. I have seen situations like here in many contexts.
Present at Tuesday evening's activity was Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs Gil Teixeira. She told the newsroom that she attended the event at the invitation of the Argentine ambassador in Guyana and was representing the government. Teixeira said the government fully supports the work of the Argentine team and has no objections. Meanwhile, co-president of the GHRA, Mike McCormack, said that he was not pleased with the response and support Dr. Funderbrother received on a trip that was geared towards merely assessing whether his institution can offer support. He lamented the failure of the police to specify how or the extent of information that they intend to hand over.
They didn't specify how they would do this or the extent of it. Dr. Funderbrother has not had an opportunity to meet the police or the police investigators. The meeting this morning was the Minister of Home Affairs meeting, and he had a team of advisors there. To that extent, so they could say yes, the police commissioner and the crime chief shook hands with Dr. Funderbrother, but there's not been any technical or professional.
He said too that already the GHRA has received pledges of US $14,000 to help fund the Argentine team in the absence of funding from the state. The team is asking for $4 million in professional fees with the exception of travel, food and accommodation. They've also asked for an additional US $1,000 to expedite the shipping of equipment they would need. The Argentine team was first recommended by attorney Nigel Hughes, who's representing the interests of the families. Hughes was present at Tuesday's presentation along with his wife and opposition parliamentarian Cathy Hughes. Family members of the teen boys had approached the government to assist in bringing the team here, but the government said it favors its United States, United Kingdom and Canadian counterparts in assisting with further investigation. As a matter of fact, members of the Regional Investigative Management System arrived in Guyana on September 28 and spent a week assisting local detectives in the case. The team concluded that they were satisfied with the work of the police but recommended more investigations be conducted. The mutilated bodies of Isaiah 16 and Joel 18 were found in the Cotton Tree Backlands, West Coast Berbice, on September 6. The killers carved out a huge X on Isaiah's head while they cut open Joel's chest. The cousins had left their home at number 3 Village, West Coast Berbice, to go into the back dam to pick coconuts the day before their bodies were found. On September 14, the police determined that the boys were murdered somewhere else and then dumped in the backlands of Cotton Tree. Widespread violent protests ensued for almost a week, and it was during those protests that 17-year-old Harris Singh was killed. Singh of number 3 Village, West Coast Berbice, was found in a bloodied state on September 9 in the back dam hours after he left home on his motorcycle to transport water for his relatives who were working on their farm. A post-mortem examination found that he died from brain hemorrhage and blunt trauma to the head, compounded by compression injuries to the neck. No one was charged for any of the gruesome murders. The Guyana Police Force has since offered an award of $3 million for information that can solve the murders.
When the newsroom returns, the alleged Ponzi scheme operator Yuri Dominguez says he intends to refund some $100 million to over 3,000 investors, and the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security rolls out a 5-day training program for women in Region 2 to tackle violence and depression. Stay tuned. This is the newsroom. The Cuban national Yuri Garcia Dominguez, who has been accused of running a Ponzi and pyramid scheme, now says he intends to refund some $100 million to over 3,000 investors whose investments he was managing in a forex trading account. Speaking on his behalf on Wednesday, attorney at law Dexter Todd said before any refunds are made, Dominguez must be given time and space to recoup the losses suffered on the trading account in recent weeks while he was arrested, detained and refused bail by the police. Todd, during an interview with the Newsroom, recalled the arrest of Dominguez back in August 2020 and his detention for several weeks while being denied bail. He said during the period of incarceration, Dominguez, who is the main trader, left the account unattended with large sums of investment capital. Todd said when his client regained access to the account, which had become the subject of a major investigation involving the police and the Attorney General chambers, it had accumulated huge losses and was running in the negative. He pegged the losses to be over $18 million. The monies were traded through an investment company, Accelerated Capital Firm Inc., of which Dominguez and his wife, Atika Ishmael, are directors.
So persons believe that this is a Ponzi scheme, and there's no evidence to support that it was a Ponzi scheme. And of course, people feel as though they need to go to the police and they need to make a report to the police before they can get back their monies. That information, again, is false and it's quite unfortunate. I can say that Mr. Dominguez, from the time he has been out, has been trying to make sure he brings down the penalties and the loss in that account, which amounts to today to, I believe, it would be $1,200,000 US. That is the loss right now. Remember, it's at a risk right now that he cannot close the account because he needs to bring back these monies, of course. And so, what is the remedy or the way forward? The way forward is to allow Mr. Dominguez to work that account and bring it into a state in which everyone will receive their monies in a very safe and in a very timely manner.
Todd said Dominguez is currently attending to the account with the intent of recouping the losses, and he has every intention to repay all investors who have not received a return on their investment. This, Todd said, can be done safely by mid-next year. Todd assured that all the monies were invested for the purposes intended and remain with the broker. Now, the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security has rolled out a 5-day training program for women in Region 2. The program, referred to as the Garment and Accessory Initiative, teaches sewing but also educates women about their rights, the laws of Guyana, gender-based and domestic violence, depression and anger management. On Tuesday, 10 women graduated from the program with certificates of achievement during a ceremony attended by the subject minister, Dr. Vindia Prasad. The initiative was welcomed by the regional chairman, Vilma De Silva, and women in the region, some of whom are single mothers.
This was the first cottage industry initiative started by the ministry, which was the Garment and Accessories Initiative. And you notice we say garment and accessory, so it opens a whole vista to you to do whatever you want within that framework. So I hope the region will support you. And here you have, within your own region, a number of very skilled and talented women, and your chair is a woman, so I know she's taking the cue from what I just said. Support the women, make sure that they are embraced and included in the opportunities that you have out there, and I'm sure seeing them, other women will be influenced and inspired to aspire to be like you.
In our situation learning here, we could assist women going through a lot of stuff. The patients our mentor had, it was very good. Adele and Sandra, they first take us through the sessions. They boost our courage. Miss Lagat also, she did that part too. Patrick teaches us about the suicidal thoughts. Some of us had that we passed through. Some of us had domestic violence, no name, no mention. And Diego with the anger management, yes, some of us do have temperate times. The business-wise, as you can see, all of us have our showcases. We plan to extend our business for the new year.
So as women, I'm happy this afternoon to see that so many women has taken the step to take responsibility of themselves and to be able to earn. So when you have your own purse, I always say this to women, when you have your own purse is very remarkable because you don't have to, you want something new, you don't have to wait if my husband has, on his payday, I will get something. You can do it for yourself.
Now, the city mayor, Obraj Narain, says the current COVID-19 guidelines are too lenient and therefore affecting the city's fight against the pandemic. At a press conference on Wednesday, he noted that the curfew needs to be changed from 10:30 p.m. to 4 a.m. since many persons are taking advantage of the measures to party late at nights. In addition, the number of shoppers have also increased in the city as all categories of businesses are now allowed to operate.
The gazetted order by the Ministry of Health is a loose one, right? It is not saving people's life, it's killing the people. And their business are telling you plain, this is a gazetted order. The gazetted order take precedence over the local authorities, right? There's a gazetted order. So I continue to say it's a loose one. So there's nothing I can do. The gazetted order need to be fixed and fixed properly so that we can save our Guyanese brothers and sisters. And let me tell you something, with this COVID-19, there are lots of people have it and don't know. Plenty of people have this virus. And I believe that I said to one of the health officer at Ministry, look, let us set up some hubs in the city and start testing people again. There's no hubs in the city. First thing is curfew. You want a curfew? You ever pass on Church Street, see this happen? Just pass on evening there. Just pass at Stabrook Market, pass at the Seawall. You'll see for your own self. Curfew is one thing you have to clamp down on. Business is actually usual with this pandemic. Business as usual.
Businesses across the city had to install sinks for persons to wash their hands before entering the stores. Persons are also urged to wear their masks. In addition, the Health Minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, is urging persons to remain in their homes if they do not have to go into the city. GPL says its damaged submarine cable will take another week to fix, and City Hall puts systems in place to fast-track the approval of commercial plans. Those and more when we return. This is the Newsroom. The Guyana Power and Light submarine cable, which was damaged almost 3 weeks ago, will take another week to fix, according to the Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Samru Ramtahal. Officials from the power company on Wednesday visited the area where contractors are working to rejoin the burst cable. Bibi Katoon reports.
The submarine cable linking the Kingston, Georgetown and Vreeden Hoop West Bank Demerara substations burst on November 27th after a ship's anchor was dropped on it in the Demerara River. Almost 3 weeks later, Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana Power and Light Company, Samru Ramtahal, said the contractors are having difficulties with lifting the western end of the cable to connect it back to the substation.
So far, from Sunday to date, we were struggling to lift the other end at Vreeden Hoop. So there are two ends of the cable that burst. One end from Kingston last Sunday to raise that on the barge, and we're now, since Sunday to date, working on raising the Vreeden Hoop side of the cable so that we can have the Chinese company joining or splicing the cables together. So we're hoping that in another 5-6 days, once we get the Vreeden Hoop side of the cable to raise, then we'll be able to do the splicing within 5-6 days from now.
An engineer explained that the process is challenging due to the tide and the alignment of the cable since it was moved by the ship.
It's very challenging because of the tide, one, right, and the alignment of the cable, right, based on when the cable was entangled previously, a couple weeks back with the ship anchor, right, the ship anchor took the cable off course to the southern side. So right now, it's very difficult because with the tide, right, we have to now set the cable back in line. Right, so currently now we found the casing, which we would call the capsule for the splice. Right, so we have it there, but based on how it was retrieved, all right, we don't want to put pressure on that splice, so we're gonna balance it, right? So the diver is gonna go down back, and we're gonna do some adjustment and bring it up back safe because we want to work in a safe and standard approach to our work. Right, so once we have that, then we're going to continue with the alignment with the barge and the excavators there and the tug, and we're going to take it to the stationary tug there that we have to your far north. Right, now on that tug we have the Kingston end cable there is already prepared and test. Right, so this cable here now from Vreeden Hoop is going to go up there, and we're going to prepare it, and we're going to test it, right? And then, you know, once it's satisfactory or reach the Chinese standards, right, they will do the splicing.
The Chinese contractors arrived in Guyana last week to fix the cable. In the meantime, GPL said the Maritime Administration Department, MARAD, was instructed not to have any ship or vessel anchor in the vicinity where the cable is located along the bank of the Demerara River. Utilizing its around-the-clock security, the company has also placed officers at Kingston that overlooks the cable crossing. The submarine cable across the Demerara River was damaged twice in 2019 and cost millions of dollars to fix. In a statement last week, GPL said to avoid future recurrences, the decisive solution will be to bury the cable to a suitable depth to cater for an ultimate channel draw of 10 meters. BB Katoon, Newsroom.
We tell you now that the Georgetown Mayor and City Council has put systems in place to fast-track the approval of commercial plans and other documents in an effort to address recurring delays. Deputy Mayor Alfred Mentor at a press conference on Wednesday blamed the City Engineering Department for the current bottlenecks in the process. Mentor, who sits as the city's representative on the board of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, said the delay in approving building plans is a major hindrance to getting structures off the ground.
After going to this Central Housing and realizing a number of systematic things that the Central Housing themselves do, and I understand the way they go about doing their things and the manner in which they list and they organize themselves, I've taken a cue from them, and I'm now trying to get the engineer department, our engineer department, to follow through with that kind of unison, so that we can be able to reduce that bottleneck and reduce that time. Only recently, we've decided that we know that most of these major plans or these commercial plans come to the council, but it then goes to the Central Housing. But when it goes to the Central Housing, it come here and go directly to there without us doing certain other procedural things. So we've just put some systems in place to allow for us to keep a copy of those documents, do whatever we have to do that makes life necessary and to make the process easier for doing business. So while the matter goes to the Central Housing, our department at the city engineer level will be able to do their work. So when they come back, it will both collide with each other, and then we'll be able to get a shorter time span to allow for those persons to get their plans and for them to go about doing their business. We came and met those systems in place. We have now sought a way of dissecting how we have to deal with it. And I'm telling you, by early next year, we'll be looking at putting operational measures and systems in place. And the chips will fall where they may. If people have to go home, they have to go home. And so that we can have a leaner, cleaner government at the level of the council and within the administration.
Now, holiday shopping for the men in your life can be a bit challenging. Mark Murray has you covered as he shares with us some of the best holiday gifts for men over at Urban Life.
This is Newsroom's Christmas in 5, and today we're down at the Giftland Mall at the Urban Life store, and we'll be talking with Dahlia, a representative from here, who will be telling us about some of the great, exciting Christmas presents that persons can find here. Dahlia, what do you guys have in stock?
Well, first of all, welcome to Urban Life, Mark, and viewers. Now, Urban Life is the ideal place to shop for the men in your life. Now, whether it's your father, your husband, or a boyfriend. There's so many select items in here that are such great quality that they're going to have it for a long, long time.
So what are some of these items you're talking about? Because, you know, most guys want to stand out and look unique. What do you have?
Well, if we're talking about something unique, we have Swiss-made watches. Now, these watches aren't anything ordinary because they are waterproof, and there's actually a special NBA edition for all of the men who are fantasizing over basketball. And, you know, they want a keepsake to say, oh, well, yes, you know. Someone from the NBA has authorized this watch. And it's not only the Tissot, but there are other watches such as the Tommy Hilfiger and so much more in store.
So what else could we get for those guys in our lives, basically around Christmas time?
Now, I know that men love a good fragrance. You know, they step into a room and it's lasting. So, if you're looking to feel like $1,000,000 this Christmas and for the new year, because they do last for a long time, there is the 1,000,000. There's also Versace, there's Guess, and Dior. So the list is very, very long. And to see, you'll have to come into store.
Perfect. So what about that ideal outfit? Because you know, around the holiday time, people want to dress up and feel good as they go about the place. I mean, we're not encouraging persons to go to parties this time, but you know, if you're home and you want to dress up.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Christmas dinner, and we know that there's the ideal family portrait around this time. You know, maybe you might be sending out postcards or just uploading it to the media. They are gorgeous suits. It's not only for the style of the man who, you know, likes to dress up or look flashy, but they're very simple, elegant suits that will last for a long time as well. And you notice I'm talking about how long that these pieces are going to last. I know that when you make an investment, and these pieces in store are an investment, because as next Christmas comes by, you're gonna still see it. These suits are so well cut and you'll be seeing them quite soon. The material is of utmost quality, really and truly. To feel the suits, you know, when you put on something with a good fit, you just feel absolutely stellar. And aside from that, you know, when you're casually around the house, let's say on New Year's Day, maybe you have a small family gathering, they're really nice, you know, khaki pants and polo shirts, really comfortable wear just for you to maneuver around the house with.
Nice. And what about the footwear? Do you guys stock that too?
Of course, and not only casual footwear, but we have heavy-duty footwear for when you're going back into work. For instance, if you're working in the interior or maybe on an oil rig, they're amazing quality footwear that will last you a very, very long time.
Alright, so is there anything else in the store that you think we should know about, or that's going like hotcakes and persons can find here at Urban Life?
Well, the customers have been gravitating towards our Kenneth Cole belts because they have a reverse buckle, you know, so you can wear one side brown at one point, another side black, and that's really nifty, I think. I mean, I've never seen it anywhere else other than here. And of course, their ties to make your suit complete, and their dress shirts, their casual shirts. There's so much in store here. We just can't wait for you guys to come down and cash in on the deals. It is going to be a very Merry Christmas indeed here at Urban Life.
And you mentioned deals. Are there going to be any bargains during this time?
Well, of course. Be sure to follow our social media at Urban Life because we're going to be rolling out some really sweet deals, and it's going to be the ideal season to shop for someone you love. You know that when you buy this for them, you're going to see them with it for a long time. They're going to cherish it. I mean, who doesn't love a great quality gift?
I know. And now that you mentioned quality, just to wrap up, just to remind them, what are the go-to items this holiday season here at Urban Life?
So, from lasting fragrances such as Dior to Swiss-made watches, Urban Life is the ideal place to get your gifts this Christmas.
All right, Dahlia, thank you very much. And this is Newsroom's Christmas in 5. I'm Mark Murray. Until next time.
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sports. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some athletics news. Guyana is far off the pace regarding the standard for 10K road race times, and to help athletes to get closer to international levels, the Athletics Association of Guyana President Aubrey Hudson said it is a combination of the coaches improving their training regime and athletes getting exposure. Hudson made a comment during an interaction with the media at the weekend.
The AAG staged the 18th edition of its South American 10K on Sunday, and the open categories were won by Vincent Missinger and Chiama Terrell. Missinger clocked 34 minutes, 22.24 seconds, while Terrell registered just over 43 minutes for her winning time. In the grand scheme of things, none of them were remotely close to Olympic Games qualifying times or the 2022 World Championships. The male Olympic qualifying standard is 27 minutes and 28 seconds, while the female entry mark sits at 31 minutes and 25 seconds. Hudson said it is something that has constantly engaged the AAG, but it will take a combined effort to solve over time.
Yes, it's something that we continue to talk about. I mean, some of the coaches are very critical of the AAG for having athletes running that slow, but they need to realize it's their athletes and they're not training them well enough to run faster. The only thing that can spike this up for us is international competition. We know in 2015 what we would have seen with the two guys coming in from Peru, and it's our intention, if the borders were open, to have that kind of competition here today. But I know, again, coronavirus has played its part, and we will continue to provide competition for our athletes as best as we possibly can.
This year, the event was an all-Guyanese competition, and the reference Hudson makes to 2015 is when the top 3 spots in the male open went to foreigners, 2 to Peruvians and 1 to a Kenyan. The race was won in 31 minutes and 8 seconds. However, from a developmental aspect, the AAG head is happy about the outcome of the juniors. Sir Kennard Hartog, a junior, came third in open male, while 4 out of the top 5 females in the senior category were juniors.
What we have to continue to look for is the successors, the people who are going to replace the Cleveland Fords and the older female athletes too as they move off, even in the sprinting events too. We have a good young crop of athletes coming up. We would have seen a lot more of them had schools nationals being able to take place this year. But here again, I mean, COVID would have played its part, and we'll continue to doing whatever we can do to, let the talent continue to come out. We work with our coaches and trying to put together proper club structure that when these athletes come out to train, that they are in a proper environment and they have the right technical information coming from the coaches, and that can only lend to us producing greater younger talent.
Based on AAG's proposed 2021 calendar, next month they will have 2 developmental meets, one of which will be the Crafted Trials on January 31st. The Crafted Track and Field Championships are expected to go ahead from April 3rd to the 5th in Bermuda. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Cricket news now. Guyana Amazon Warriors Chandapal Hemraj produced with bat and ball to lead Somerset Cavaliers to victory in Game 3 on Day 1 of the US Open T20 competition on Tuesday. Playing at the Central Broward Regional Park, Cavaliers thumped Samp Army by 9 wickets with more than half the overs to spare. Hemraj, opening the bowling with his left-arm spin, claimed 2 for 10 off 3 overs as Samp Army posted 133 for 3 from the allotted 20 overs. Kunal Shigal top scored for Swamp Army with 61 of 55 and Sanjay Stanley made 59 of 49. In reply, Hemraj and fellow opener Kinar Lewis pulverized the opposition bowlers, racing to an opening stand of 94 in just 5.5 overs. Lewis blazed to 61 of 23 and Hemraj remained to the end with 50 of 25 as Cavaliers won in 9.5 overs. In the earlier games, Atlanta Paramveers defeated 22 yards by 6 wickets and Brampton Pacers prevailed by 4 wickets over Afghan Swannon. Now, West Indies captain Jason Holder said losing some key players during the recently concluded series against New Zealand did not help the Caribbean side's cause in the 2-match series. West Indies lost the test matches by heavy margins, with the Black Caps posting huge totals in both games.
Performances may not dictate that, but learning definitely has taken place. It's been unfortunate. I've had so many instances as a captain where you plan for one particular thing, but then something definitely just happens. And we lost Kemar obviously with his dad passing away. Then Shane obviously going home, was unable to take part in the rest of the test match in Hamilton. So look, there are a number of things that just pop up. Shimron Hurtmel was originally part of the test squad, had a concussion, couldn't play. Kemo Paul was struggling as well with injury. And it just cuts your resources down. You leave home planning for one particular thing, and then obviously things change. But that's life. We can't dwell on it. We've just got to keep moving forward.
Now, the Guyana Football Federation recently launched its members' financial assistance program to help transform football in Guyana. The program is funded by the FIFA Forward program and revenues raised by the local federation. Here is a glimpse of how the program is intended to work.
The Guyana Football Federation is committed to empowering its members to develop the game. Regional associations, affiliates, elite league clubs. In 2020, the GFF launched its first Member Financial Assistance Programme, MFAP, to transform football across Guyana. Funded by FIFA Forward and revenue raised by the GFF, MFAP covers 4 areas: administration and operations, equipment and materials, competitions and technical, infrastructure. Administration and operations. Regional associations will receive $600,000 Guyana dollars each year for governance and administration, staffing and training, website and communications. Affiliates will receive $500,000 every year for development equipment, capacity building, competitions and events, governance and administration. And elite league clubs will receive $400,000 each year for development equipment, coaching education, marketing, club management. Equipment and materials. To ensure they have the equipment they need, every year each member will receive 100 balls, 200 cones, 40 hurdles and 100 bibs. Every 2 years, members will receive 2 junior home kits, 2 junior away kits, 2 senior home kits and 2 senior away kits. Competitions and technical. Members can also access funding for grassroots, U13, U15, U17, U20 and senior competitions, coaching education, match officials training, competition management training. Infrastructure development. To improve infrastructure standards, the GFF will support the upgrade and maintenance of grounds, lights and facilities and accept proposals for land development. MFAP compliance. MFAP is structured to ensure the ethical and efficient use of funds. Mirroring FIFA's model, each member must develop an action plan and budget, sign an MOU, and follow strict compliance and oversight protocols. MFAP will change the game from the ground up. The Guyana Football Federation, delivering excellence.
Now, India's captain Virat Kohli has promised high-voltage action in the 4-test series against Australia, which gets underway in Adelaide on Thursday. The hosts are looking to avenge a 2-1 defeat on home soil 2 years ago when they were missing Steve Smith and David Warner after the ball tampering affair. Both sides are without some key players because of injury. Before the day-night test, Kohli said, and I quote, "It is definitely going to be as competitive as it has always been," end quote. Warner misses the first test with an adductor injury, while India are awaiting the arrival of batsman Rohit Sharma. Fast bowler Ishan Sharma has been ruled out of the whole tour. India's win 2 years ago, their first series success in Australia, was occasionally a bad-tempered contest. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.